Hello, everyone. As Katrina mentioned, I will be presenting the latest office hours on our version for the NLA latest version of the office hours today. I will share my screen and uh, we'll start the agenda. You can confirm if you see my screen.
We can see it.
So today we are going to cover the revert functionality in the latest version. We'll go through the introduction of it, how the functionality works, the impact of the revert function on the posting, schedules, and reports. What are the limitations? What do we suggest the best practices are? Um, you may ask your questions, and then we'll go through a bit of the new latest release that's coming up. The enable environment will be released, I guess, tomorrow or Monday for you guys. We can go through a bit on that as well. So for the introduction of revert functionality, what is revert? Um, the ability to revert an active status of an activation group back to its inception or defined state, or a previous state based on the events performed. So if you have multiple events, you can go back one level or multiple levels. Why is revert important? Um, the few benefits of the revert functionality here is that you can have the accurate lease data. It plays a crucial role in ensuring the accuracy of the lease data with the solution, ensuring that postings and disclosure reports are accurate and reliable. It also helps in eliminating any foreclosure of any contracts and recreation of it. So in the past, if an error was
Sorry, Ruchika, sorry to interrupt you. Just wanted to make sure, is everybody able to see the screen? I think some of you might have some issues.
Yeah, I'm not able to see the screen.
okay, thank you for
Okay,
mentioning. I'm
thank
going to
you.
stop sharing and restart resharing.
All good, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So I'll start with the benefits of our revert functionality. The accurate lease data. So the revert functionality ensures that all the data in the solution is accurate, and which obviously gets reflected on our posting and disclosure reports, as well as it eliminates the option of foreclosing and recreation of leases. So in the previous versions, if an error was found and if it could not be corrected through a script or lease modification, the only option in the past was to terminate the lease and start over with the creation of a new lease. So you no longer have to do that, as well as it just helps a user experience because it's just more seamless and user friendly, as it's very easy to revert and make the changes and no need to close a contract. So when is revert used? Maybe we should discuss a bit before, but basically, if a user realizes after the activation group has been activated and there was a mistake when the inputs were entered during a creation of a lease, or incorrect lease modification was performed, which obviously results in incorrect postings and disclosure reports. So it is not a regular event. It is a corrective measure that we have introduced to make sure that the reports are correct and the postings are correct on the solution. So can reward be used for what type of ERP connection is required? So can the reward be used in a connected mode, or we'll call it now as the hybrid mode, or the disconnected? The reward, functionality, what it does it is actually, in case of a disconnected system, it will revert the internal postings and obviously will have the impact on the disclosure reports and the other reports that we have, like, for example, the periodic posting, the consolidated transaction report, activity reports, an activity analysis report. And in the hybrid mode, it will also impact your external postings. So it'll be used in both. Who can perform revert? So the revert function can be initiated by only the accountant. They can start it and initiate, and they can complete the process for now. Does anybody have a question so far? Okay. Difference between reverse and revert feature. So we already had a reverse feature in our previous version as well. So the reverse is basically you're either manually or on the schedules on the UI itself or through mass posting, you will reverse the postings internally. And then, so that basically reverses the journals. And then it will be also externally posted when if you're in the case you're connected and you run your SAP posting bot. As on the contrary, we have is revert. It is performed manually. It's on the activation group, and it not only reverses the internal postings, the journals, and also the external postings. It'll completely revert the AG version that you are selecting to revert. So the inception, in case if it's an inception version, it'll revert the postings for the inception. In case it's modification, it will revert the modification entries. Sorry for that. How the revert functionality works. I will go through it. So as I discussed before, what happens when you revert? When you revert to a version, it effectively restores the activation group back to the previous version you have selected. Or if you're going down back one level, or if you would like to do a multi-level feature, as in a quick snapshot, you can see here where you're reverting the second event and returning back the activation group to the version of the first event. So if I just show you here, the inception was the first at the starting, then the user had event 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then decided we would like to revert back to event 1. And that's when you see the event 1 name remains the same, and now it has become active event. I'll go in more details in a bit. So as I was mentioning, the process of how to doing it is the first thing is you need to identify that the revert needs to be done. The user has probably realized it during some validation process that a mistake was done and an AG was activated with some incorrect data in it when they were probably inputting a rate or a term or the exercise and option which was not required. Just a few examples. And assessing the revert option means it's ensuring it's active AG, is that only active AGs can be reversed. You cannot reverse a closed AG if all the entries have been posted. So then the user must decide which version they want to revert, because as I said, it's a multi-level possibility of reversing the AGs. So the user must understand before they run the process. So the screenshot here that you see is basically I'm going back to an inception. In the case, this particular contract had inception and then had an extension. I'll show you in the UI in a bit. And then now you want to bring back this AG back to the define mode. So basically, I'm going not in the active, I'm going one version below that, and I would like to click on the three icons here, which is the context menu, and select revert. So once you select revert, it gives us a pop-up for a revert modification, and it is requesting you to input the data for the document date the posting date, and the reversal reason. So the reversal reason code is basically configured in your FOSS. You may have multiple choices, so it must be reversed in a current open period. I mean, in an open period, basically. And the document date in this case is showing me Jan 1st, and the terms are shown here that the original, the the term of the contract was 2 years. So once you have made those 3 selections and input the data, the activation group starts to revert. The icon will change like this, and then once it's reverted, changes the color to black. So you can see the horizontal bar now. The revision has become a reverted inception. So as I had mentioned before, that I had inception, we had done an event extension, and we decided that we want to bring back to inception at a defined status, and that's the reason why we came to this level, and then we reverted it. So now we see that the AG is back in the defined status, and we can modify our terms and regenerate the schedule and reassess if this is the once you have made the modification, that this is the desired results that the user wants to have. If I wanted to actually not come back to the defined status of the activation group, I could have come on the event 1 and reverted the extension if the extension was the incorrect modification that was done, and if I did not want to come back to the defined status of the AG. So does anybody have a question so far? I'm going too fast.
No questions for the time being.
Good. Thank you, Kata. Once you have finished the process of reverting, an icon pops here. It's called a revert report, and it basically gives these steps. I will go through this in a bit. And the next topic I would like to cover is the drafts. So the user is saying, what happened to my drafts that I had created? Because now with the latest version, you can have multiple drafts. A user can have 5 drafts, and then they identify the mistake. And now once they are reverting it, what happened to the drafts? So the drafts will automatically get deleted when the revert function is used. So that will no longer be available. I'm going to go jump to the report icon. So basically, every time you are running the revert feature, an icon will appear at the level that you have performed the event. And this will tell you basically the steps. So I am going back up just to show you it's a clear picture. On the revert report, basically, it tells you the different steps that is going to take place. So in this case, when you click on the revert icon, and I'm sorry, when you click on the revert icon and submit the inputs required, the steps is broken down in different levels so that the user can see if there's an issue, it will tell you failed, and then you can go back and see what could have gone wrong. In this case, the task creation is upon clicking submit, it will confirm if it's successful. It is queuing the task if it's multiple revisions, and then it find which revisions needs to be reversed. And then once it's have selected that, the next step is the journal reversal, making sure all the journals have been reversed. And cloning basically means that the original inception is now reverted, and it clones back and gives you the same inception status of that event, and that's why it's called cloning. And then once it's all done, it comes back to the status that you have selected, either define or one level down of the previous version. It says it's completed. So that is the Revert report that we have. And which is not that clear, but basically what happens after the revert is completed. So we will see that there are different status that now you see it's not the usual because now you have not only the revision, but you may also have reverted and inactive. So the version I was shown in the order of the events performed. So we'll see that the active status or the active version will always be on the first, on the top. So if you are reverting to a level, then the active status automatically appears on the top for to be convenient for the user. Then the reverted, the status of any reverted versions will state in black color in the background with the white font saying reverted. And the inactive status is the status of a past event when it is brought back to active status. So basically, this means that these three versions were probably in this process of testing the event 1 to event 5. We have probably brought back an event in revert, and that's why we see it as an inactive. Another thing to keep in mind is the IDs. So basically, what are the different ID numbers? It's basically also to it's there to help the user to also identify. So a copy of the now inactive version becomes in the new active version, new activation group. So the name is kept identical, so the user can easily identify it. And what changes is the ID, the unique ID. So if you can see that when we had done the inception, the ID was ending with 3402, and it changed as we had done each event at different levels. And then when we decided to bring back the inception back in an active status, so then on the right, we can see that they are the identical. So just to keep track for the user to see, the name will remain the same, but the IDs will change. So the ID is no longer 402, it's 805. It's just something that the user can keep in mind to track down and see which event that they have come back to. Okay, so next is impact on the schedules, postings, and reports. So what is the impact on the schedule and posting, rolling back an activation group, or one version or multiple versions includes undoing any changes from the activation group events. If you have any newly exercised terms, contract rate changes, indexation, as well as reverting the financial schedule and reversing any event postings. So reward process will reverse modification and inception journals and all the three postings, which is the payment, accrual, and depreciations, they all will be reversed. As I mentioned previously, the difference is with the reverse as and revert is that we are reverting the modification and inception journals as well. Unposted journals. So when we are performing multiple events, and then we post journal entries, there might be entries that were not posted in some events. And to show you an example is that this is a reverted, my extension that I had reverted, but I had not posted. So we can see that our journals are actually not posted. If it was posted, it would have said posted, but we can see there it says open. So the user actually has the option of posting. So can a user come and click on the post icon and post the entry for a reverted revision? No. So once they try to post it, it will clearly state that it's not allowed to perform the posting on a non-active activation. So that covers the unposted journals. So what is the impact on reports? Now on the reports, basically the AG revision now can have more than one inception, right? Since we have the revert functionality, but only one active inception. The user may decide to go back and forth, multiple errors occur. That's the case when you can have multiple inceptions. But the active inception revision will be only one. So as I said, any other inception which is not active will not be considered in the report. It's only the active version that is reflected in all the disclosure reports. All the reports will have to reflect, will also reflect the financial impact on the reverted versions. I'm repeating again that it only shows the amounts and balances based on the active version and not any of the previous version. It all gets reversed as they are reversed in the journals as well. Except in consolidated transaction report, the user can see both the original posted journals and the reverted journals. And I'll show you the example. And this is done to maintain an audit trail and also for the user to do the reconciliation if required, and to see if the revert functionality worked as they wanted to. And also in the connected mode, you will be able to reconcile with SAP. Any questions so far? No. So we can go through one case and we can see that the one I had shown you previously, it's the same one. Basically, we have a contract for 1 year. At the inception, on July 1st, we decide to do an extension for another year. And then we said, okay, the extension was incorrect and we need to correct it. So then we do a revert event on 1st of Jan 2025, and we bring it back to the inception at defined status. This is a very simple scenario just for us to see. We can also do a little bit more complicated. I have an example ready to show you. So as I had mentioned before, that a user can have postings done at the inception level. So, and then decide to revert it later. So this shows you that these were posted and they were reversed. As well as if you click on the book icon, it shows you the journal entry that was there, but it will all be reverted. I'll show in the consolidated transaction report as well. And this is inception, the initial inception, sorry, and that's why you see a line here, which was there originally. And this was, this screenshot was taken after it was reverted. So we don't see a screenshot of the active version of the first initial inception. And the similar case is here, is that once I did my extension for 1 year, I had posted them and they all got automatically reversed because the screenshot here is showing me after it was reverted. And we still have our row highlighted green as I had run my extension for 1 more year on this date in July. Coming back to this is when I have already reverted my initial inception and my extension, and I see it's in defined state, and the user has to click on the generate schedules because they no longer have schedules since you are reverting on defined state. In the case I had mentioned before, if the user decides to just remove the extension and not the come back to the defined status, this would be active status, depending on if they had correctly reverted the version that they wanted to. So basically all the journals from the inception to this typo is to December 31st, 2024, were basically reversed. So going back here, all the entries that were initially posted are now reversed, and then there are no schedules as well. Anybody has a question so far? Okay. The journals, the book icon that I had mentioned before, this is a snapshot when it was posted. And you can see on the internal document number, we have a number here which will change once it gets posted. So let me go back and show you once the reversion was reversed, the asset capitalization and the liability capitalization will have a reversal code that will be stated. It will also state that they're reversed, and there'll be a new internal document number assigned to it, as well as there will be a document number that states the reversing entry. I'll go on the UI in a bit, just want to go through the limitations. So basically, this feature is only supported for lessee contracts so far, and only an accountant can revert the activation group. It cannot be done by any other user. Next one is a lease administrator cannot call back a lease component, even if now the activation is in a defined status, if the activation group was reverted to defined status. And some limitations, as mentioned above, are there for compliance and audit requirements. Just to keep the audit trail, we have left the solution to designed to as such. The mass reward functionality will be released in the upcoming releases. The next release, it is not available right now, so the user has to revert one at a time any changes that needs to be fixed. Keep in mind that once a version is reverted, it cannot be undone. So we'll go through a few steps to see what a user can do and before deciding to revert an event. Another limitation is that the unit status and the charge postings are reversed only when the inception version is reverted back to defined status. So if you are doing a multi-level revert for versions, you will not be reverting the charge postings on the unit status. So this is just saying the same. They will be left in their current status if the charge postings, if you are reverting to a revision and not back to a defined status. This is showing you the error that the user, the lease administrator, will see if they attempt to actually call back an AG. So if they see an AG activation group is in a defined status and they think they want to call it back, they will not be able to. Upon clicking on the callback icon, they'll get the error saying failed to delete an activation of release component since it has been reverted or inactive version. So this is a screenshot of that. Best practices, as I mentioned, that you cannot undo the revert function once a revision has been reverted. So it's a good practice to establish clear guidelines for the users to decide and document to when it's appropriate to revert an AG. Since reverting is not part of a regular routine option, it should be only utilized as a corrective action to address any discrepancies or errors that were found. And also, the next thing you can do is to verify before and after the revert is done. So as I mentioned, the consolidated transaction report will include both your original posted journals and the reverted. So we can go through that and show you an example as well. Anybody has a question? These are the resource centers.
Sorry, Ruchika, we have a raised hand.
Yes, Timothy, go ahead.
Go ahead, Timothy.
Yes, hi, thank you. I have a side question on not related to reverting in regards to modification events for an extension. Uh,
Mhm.
the extension of an event of a current of the contract, does the contract has to be current to do the extension? For example, if we have a contract ended in 12/31/2023, and then it's been expired, but we have not done any lease end or termination at all. And today we realize that, oh, we need to extend that starting August 1st because we have a new we have an agreement to continue on the contract. Can we do that?
Give me a second. Let me see if I can share my screen.
I can answer that one if you want, Ruchika, but go for it if you know the answer.
Go ahead.
So as of right now, once you have posted everything and your lease reaches lease end, there's no option to do a modification, even if you reverse the last period's postings. But that is a system limitation that we're aware of, and it is something that they're working on to accommodate.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Haley. Okay. Give me a second. Does anybody else have a question? Okay. So this is the example of the revert on the UI that I had done previously, and I was showing you the screenshots for. Right now, I am in the inception, the define, and initially this is what we had done. Initially, we had the contract for 2 years. And we had an extension, which we had not exercised. We have our schedules, and all our postings were posted for the first 6 months, and they all got reversed. Then the user decided to run the extension modification, and they ran it on July 1st, and they exercised the extension term. So we see the split when the extension was exercised, and we see the schedules that all the postings were made for 2024, and 2025 remains unposted. So the color coding changed for the post. It is posted already and reversed, and that's why it's all in orange. And then when the process that the user had done basically was come at the level that or revision that they wanted to revert, and they had click on the context menu, selected the revert, that's when it popped up. I'll show you another example. And then they had decided, okay, we want to revert it. And that's the process they used. And they came back to the defined status of the AG, where there are no schedules. And they can come and either exercise the extension right away, or they can have they can change uh, they can change the rate, they can add the CPI indexation if they had they were supposed to and they forgot to add the CPI if required, or if they have additional lease components that they could have come here and run an event here, and then they could add in the existing activation. Once run at the LC level, they could have come and selected those new terms if they were missing something. So if you're missing a non-lease payment, an additional supplemental, or any other, maybe a free rent, they could have done that. So this is giving you a snapshot of that. And I have already run my reports to show you the impact as well. Give me a second. I'm just going to So I had already exported the reports on this contract, and I would like to show you that I ran the consolidated transaction report for the whole year of 2024 and the date I actually brought back my inception back to defined status on Jan 1st, 2025. That was my modification date, and I brought back my activation group back to defined status. I ran my consolidated transaction report, and I would like to show you two examples. The first would be the recognition of journals. So this is my original tab. I just copied it, and I have just sorted it, and I would like to see my recognition journals. So we see that I selected my recognition journal in the description, and I have my entries here. So we see that they were reversed. I'll show you here. As I was mentioning before, that you have the internal document number of the initial posting that was done, and then you have the date it was reversed. So we ran the indexation, we ran the revert function on basically 1st of Jan 2025. And now here we'll see that these were the original postings that were done. So you see the original, the postings appear here, which will match my internal postings. So if I go back on the UI, and I'll show you that this is the number that was initially on my journal, and that can be found here as well. And now it's being reversed, and the new internal document number provided is here. So what happens is basically your debits and credits are reversed. Your asset, ROU asset, was being recognized here, and now you're removing it here. So you can see the trail, the audit trail of you can see the audit trail of the journals, and my total is 0. So the recognition has come down to 0. You can also check it through a pivot. You will see that the ROU asset has 2 entries, and then it's being reversed. Another way I can show you, sorry, just going back, if you are a connected system, you will also have an external document number. So you will have, originally when you will post your entry, you will have a document number for external the postings that you have done in your ERP, and then you will also have a number here. So just before I hop onto the next tab, let me show you that this is the one that you have in the original. If I come on my Inception and I click on my finance schedules, and here you can see this is the number that we have, which ends with 308, and that is what we have here, which is 308. Oh, sorry, my bad. I'm going to show you the original. So if you click on the history, you will see the revised version always first, and the posted version is also available right there. So we'll see it's the internal document number of the initial inception is 435, and we have our asset here. So we'll see that we have capitalized our asset. And then this is the one that we have, and the reversed number is right there. Any question on that? If somebody has not seen that in the past, that you can switch over to the different journals for initial and reversed. Okay. Now in these two tabs, I just want to show that I ran a pivot, and I would like to see the postings. And we see that at defined status today, when nothing is being posted, just to go back on the UI and show you. I mean, You've seen it a few times already, but you can see that there are no schedules, there's no postings. So technically, on Jan 1st, 2025, that's when the report was run. My total balances now are all zero. So initially, I had recognized my ROU asset and my liability. On Jan 1st, I have in 2025 reversed it all. All the postings that were posted in 2024 are now being reversed. And once the user decides to change or modify the terms and activate, they will post them, then they will appear here. Does anybody have a question on how to use the consolidated transaction report? View the transactions or do a reconciliation? Okay. I just want to give you a snapshot of disclosure reports. Again, I ran the disclosure reports before and after. This is an example of when I had my disclosure reports for asset roll forward, when I had posted my entries and the schedule generated. I'm just going to unhide my asset forward, and I did not print another one. But basically, giving examples for the lease liability, this was my original that I ran the lease liability report for the 12 months. I see the amounts, and then after I reverted it, you will see that there is no postings, no live report available right now. I'm running it for the 6 months, and we see that there are no data available on this. Periodic posting status report as well. I had printed the report when I was posting my first 6 months, and we see that we had status as posted. And then I ran the report again on the 1st of Jan 2025, and the report is empty because the report was starting on Jan 1st, 24, so basically for 1 year, and now those postings have been reversed just for the user to see another way. Another report that you can use also the GL balance report. I ran the report for December 31st, 2024, and we see the postings, and they do change on Jan 1st, 2025. We can also check another report, the activity analysis report. This report was run again for a period in the past for the first 6 months of 2024, and we have values here. And once I have reverted my my version, the report is empty for the same period. Does anybody have a question on disclosure reports or the consolidated transaction reports? No? Okay. And the user can also come on our docs on Nakisa for the resources if they need any additional documentation on how to perform the revert. These are the few links that we have. And I can so basically this is what it is. You come on docs on Nakisa, and then you can select your Nakisa Lease Administration, which is going to change. The name is changing with our 2024 R2 release. It's going to be called Nakisa Lease Accounting. And the user can review the process of revert function on the user guide. If they need to add, the administrator needs to add the reversal codes, they can come to the FOSS. And the Nakisa General Ledger Guide can be used for running the consolidated transaction reports, as well as the SAP posting, the GL balance reports. Or if you want to look at the ledger transactions. I did not cover the ledger transactions. I could also show you that. In the general ledger transactions, it will show you all the reversed postings here as well. If a user need to select one particular AG and they want to search it here, they can simply enter it here. They can select the posting dates, the document dates to search and see. It also has your external status. If you have it posted internally but reversed was failed externally, it will show you. I don't have an example here right now, but this is how you can use your ledger transactions also to see your Revert AGs or Revert divisions and how the journal entries are being posted. That's it for me for now. If anybody has a question on Revert function. Hannah, you want to add something?